I didn't want them to fight.
No?
I really like both of those guys. Both guys, class act. It would look like I'm leaning towards one.
Floyd Mayweather recently spoke about the possible Terence Crawford versus Jaron Ennis fight. After becoming a 4-division world champion with a strong win over Israel Madoff, Crawford now has many options for his next fight. Recently, Crawford said he wants to move up to 168 lbs to face Canelo Alvarez in a major fight. After trying out the 154 lbs division for the first time, Crawford made it clear he is serious about that goal. Following his win over Madoff, he told DAZN, "It's just another milestone to greatness, I suppose, and financially wise." Meanwhile, Turki Al-Sheikh, the chairman of the General Entertainment Authority, also spoke about it, saying, "I gave Alvarez an offer. If he's smart, he'll accept it. If they accept, we want to see this fight." This raised the question, could we see Canelo versus Crawford on September 14th? If Alvarez wins his fight against Edgar Banga, the world seems ready for that showdown. However, another potential matchup has also caught attention. During the build-up to Crawford's fight with Madoff, Crawford and Ennis met during fight week. They were respected.
That's the fight that everybody wants to see.
Yeah.
I want to do it.
Do you respect him as like when he's like, I got a couple fights left, I'm at the end, I'm only trying to get mega fights, so.
I understand it, but don't lie or cap to the net and make it seem like I had the opportunity to fight you and I didn't. I never did. You know what I'm saying? And then that one time that I did, we said they called and we said we never heard nothing else back about it. So
Right.
I mean, I respect it though. I mean, get your money. You know what I'm saying? Do your thing, but don't be capping on it.
If the Canelo fight doesn't happen, will Crawford turn his attention to Ennis instead? Or will he aim to dominate the super welterweight division and become a 3-time undisputed world champion? On August 10th, Virgil Ortiz will face Serhij Boachuk for the WBC super welterweight world title. If Crawford wants to expand his success at 154 lbs, fighting the winner could give him another major achievement in boxing history. However, Turki Al-Sheikh believes Jaron Ennis has a big role to play in the boxing world. On social media, he suggested an exciting fight between Ennis and the pound-for-pound legend Terence Crawford at junior middleweight, promising fans that it could happen soon. In his Philadelphia homecoming, 27-year-old Ennis impressed fans by stopping Nottinghamshire's David Avanesian in 5 rounds. It was his first fight under Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Boxing banner, and his performance caught Al-Sheikh's attention. He tweeted, "I just reached out to boxer Jaron Ennis and Eddie Hearn to congratulate him on his win, and I'd love to see Ennis in a fight with Crawford at weight 154 soon." Ennis promoter Eddie Hearn also liked the idea but said the fight would likely take place in 2025. Hearn mentioned that Ennis will move to 154 lbs at some point, but not before taking care of his current fights. During a conversation with Al-Sheikh, Ennis, who was sitting next to Hearn, responded quickly saying, "Send the contract." He then explained his talk with Al-Sheikh, saying, "I said to His Excellency, maybe if you want, we will go co-main event on Dimitri Artur Bivol in October out there in Saudi Arabia, or we could come back here in Philadelphia." Meanwhile, according to Mike Coppinger from ESPN, Saul Canelo Alvarez is planning a stay-busy fight in Los Angeles this fall, possibly leading to a massive showdown with Terence Crawford in 2025. At the same time, Ennis continues to make headlines, with major Saudi promoters showing interest in arranging a Crawford versus Ennis fight. During the weigh-in for Crawford's fight with Israel Madoff, Crawford approached Ennis and said, "I thought you weren't going to watch." Boots folded his arms tightly as Crawford came closer, a small gesture that looked defensive. Just in case Crawford tried something unexpected, Crawford's approach caught everyone off guard. No one knew what he was planning, maybe even trying to get a mental edge over Ennis before any contract was signed. Boots Ennis has been calling out Crawford for a long time, hoping to become the next big star. But Crawford seems more focused on a potential fight with Canelo Alvarez at 168 lbs next year. Eddie Hearn recently confirmed his presence at Crawford's fight and said he wants Crawford to face his fighter, Boots Ennis, if the Canelo fight falls through. Hearn believes Boots has what it takes to beat Crawford and prove himself as one of boxing's top young stars. Boots explained his appearance at the weigh-in to DAZN's Emily Austin, saying, "I came here to support my teammate Andy Cruz and see him put on a show, and I was invited, so I couldn't turn it down." Boots Ennis is now seen as a future opponent for Crawford. Errol Spence used to hold that position for years. with their rivalry lasting from 2018 to 2023. They finally fought last year, and Crawford won decisively by stoppage. After that, Ennis became the IBF mandatory challenger for Crawford's title, but Crawford couldn't take the fight due to a contract for a rematch with Spence, a fight that never happened. A few months later, Ennis became the welterweight world champion by default after Crawford vacated the IBF title. Last month, Ennis defended his title by defeating David Avanesian in 5 rounds, 1 round faster than Crawford did. Afterward, Ennis said he was ready to move up in weight to face Crawford next. His promoter, Eddie Hearn, said, obviously he wants to fight Terence Crawford. He wants to unify at 147 lbs, that's the priority. But after the fight with David, His Excellency Turki Alalshik FaceTimed me and said if Canelo won't fight Crawford, then I want to make that fight. Hearn added, we love that fight. It's a very dangerous fight, but it's one of the best fights in boxing. During Friday's weigh-in, Crawford and Ennis had a short altercation backstage. Crawford looked back at Boots before turning and walking away, saying, "Thought you weren't going to watch it." David Avanesian, after his defeat to Jaron Ennis, is currently resting in America. His trainer, Carl Greaves, has already returned to work in Newark, Nottinghamshire. Avanesian, known for his aggressive style, stepped in on just 1 month's notice after Cody Crowley failed a medical test. He fought bravely, but suffered facial injuries and had to retire after the 5th round. Greaves has faced 2 of the best welterweights, Ennis and Crawford, and has spent hours studying both fighters. He has seen their skills up close during fight weeks and on fight night. Crawford and Ennis, in his view, would make an incredible matchup between 2 of the best boxers in the world.
Fighter is, I know he is no good, understand? Check gloves, I know think nothing before. When I go start fight as European title, I tell my coach, and Kerman Lecharaga, I say, listen, please see he gloves. And Kerman Lecharaga team, very good, nice people. When I go fight Crawford, I never think about gloves. I think, listen, he is good boxer. I think he don't need.
As Crawford defeated Israel Madoff this past weekend, it was the perfect time to get Gaviz's opinion on how he and Ennis compare in several important areas. Gavi said, Boots Ennis is the busier, more active fighter in my opinion. He's a bit younger and fresher. On the other hand, Crawford is very, very patient. His timing is very good, and he plans his attacks perfectly at the right moments. Whereas Ennis is more busy. Gaviz further added, I think that Crawford is a heavier-handed fighter. I was talking to David and he said that Crawford hits harder, but that Boots Ennis was a bit sharper and busier. Greaves mentioned that David had commented on the power of Egidijus Kavaliauskas, noting that Kavaliauskas, who stopped Avanesian in 6 rounds back in 2018, hits hard. David also said that there's no comparison between Kavaliauskas and Boots Ennis. Gaviz interpreted this to mean that Ennis is sharp and busy, but did not seriously hurt him, apart from a flash knockdown. According to Greaves, I would say Crawford is far more experienced. I know that Boots has had a lot of fights, and if you look at their records, they're extremely similar. But you've got to look at the level Crawford has been fighting at. He's way more experienced at that level than Ennis. I do think there's more to come from Ennis, though. As he continues to rise through the ranks, he'll have to show how good he really is. Gavs also added that Boots Ennis and his team are much better people, describing them as proper, straightforward, and genuinely nice. He contrasted this with his experience around the Crawford camp, which he felt was set up to annoy them. He recalled an incident at the public workout where Crawford's supporters harassed them and said that this negative behavior continued throughout the week. While Greaves acknowledged that Crawford himself is very relaxed, he criticized the people around him as not being good. Greaves concluded, It's hard for me to compare the two and say who would win, but I do think if David had more notice and was better prepared. The longer that fight with Ennis went, the more he was in it. It's a bit frustrating, really. In a nutshell, after speaking to David, I think Crawford would beat Boots Ennis. Meanwhile, Jaron Ennis has continued to target a Terence Crawford fight. Even though Crawford has left the welterweight division for new challenges, Boots gained the IBF title when Crawford vacated his belts at 147 pounds, but he missed out on the fight he truly wanted. After a dominant defense against David Avanesian, he expressed interest in moving up to super welterweight to face Bud. However, Crawford seems more focused on fighting Saul Canelo Alvarez at super middleweight, multi-division, World champion and legendary 50 Nero, undefeated fighter Floyd Mayweather predicted.